7 out of 10 is what I'd give it. I'm sorry, I can't give it anything more because it missed the mark on many, many things. Well, here we go, guys. This is a film review of Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. And I think that name should be the title, really, because this is supposed to be Homer's The Odyssey. And in fact, it is quite Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. And I'm a massive Nolan fan, and I'm actually a Greek as well. So not only have I grown up loving the Odyssey and the Iliad, which was written in poem form by Homer, I grew up also in my teenagehood and after loving the works of one Christopher Nolan, who's one of my favorite directors. But then, you know, when I see stuff like The Odyssey, I then realize why he's not fully quite someone I can say is totally my favorite. I do love a lot of his work. I love things like Interstellar, Dark Knight, Inception, The Prestige, Memento. He's got, even Dark Knight Rises, Batman Begins, I saw that back in January, amazing. But he fell short of my expectations of The Odyssey, and here I'll explain to you why. And honestly, all of this buzz that is created, I feel like it's a bit coming out of nowhere, really, and they've been put on to create a buzz. Because first of all, the most important thing about The Odyssey is Odysseus, the character Odysseus, the wise, the brainy Odysseus. And nowhere in this film, other than he grabbed a bird at one point at Circe's place, at no other point in this film did I ever feel that Odysseus was a smart guy. That's one of the greatest things about him, you know? Aeolus in another film says to him, who gives him a wind of sack to take him to Ithaca, ultimately for it to be ruined by his crew, who were greedy thinking it was gold. Odysseus says to Aeolus, "Why are you helping me?" You know, Aeolus says to him, "Because you're the first human to ever use your brain." Odysseus has this, and that's an important part of what makes this story. And if you're not going to bring across an Odysseus who's smart, then what's the point? And that was my biggest thing about the whole thing. Yeah, I liked it that he was a bit more down to earth. It's no problem. I liked that he was humble, no worries. He wasn't a show off, but he did things that Odysseus would never do. Like with the Cyclops, if I connect that scene, for example, and this is two very big points from the Cyclops scene. One is he never spoke to the Cyclops. One of the biggest moments that showed how smart he is when he outwits the Cyclops and he tells him, "My name is nobody," and he charms him and his soldiers make it out. And then he comes out and he says, "Brothers, nobody has blinded me." That was genius. And then his brothers didn't run to help him or anything. But then, of course, Poseidon, who is the father of the Cyclops, of Polyphemus, he knows that that's what Odysseus did eventually, and blah, 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 and he curses him even further. But still, and then the other thing was, what ends up happening is the soldiers get out of the cave, and Polyphemus spews out a helmet of one of his soldiers, and Odysseus does an arrow to him, which annoys him, the Cyclops, even more, and he chases his men and gets more people killed. Odysseus would never ever do that. Even when his soldiers went to be rash in this film, he stopped them. So why are you suddenly throwing an arrow to the Cyclops, which gets more of your men killed? I'm telling you, it's not how Odysseus would have been, yeah? And throughout the whole film, he wasn't smart, and it just felt like a film that was made of loads of different scenes. A lot of them didn't emotionally connect. There was no build-up. When he gets back to Ithaca, we all need to feel this longing that he hadn't been there for years. But that never happened. He just wakes up normally on the beach. And Zendaya's character, who is either Athena or a Trojan priestess, which I like that bit, to be fair, but I'll get to that later. You know, he just wakes up and I don't feel anything. I didn't feel Argos at all, his dog dying. You know, an important, you're talking film here and visually and indirect things getting to you emotionally. Why did you leave out Antiphus, his pipe his pipe playing soldier who was important, and he sees him again in the afterlife? Yeah. Why was Odysseus's mum not in this? Why are we going to believe that Penelope, I only want Odysseus? How? Not one scene was shown of her looking out to the sea and waiting and longing for Odysseus and saying, oh, Odysseus, I miss you. No scene like that, even in the 90s version of Odysseus, which was a 2-part TV series, which was amazing. And we watched it when I was a kid, and I loved that film, and I still have it, right? I think Armanda Sante was the main character, who, by the way, looks way Greek than what Matt Damon does. Matt Damon wasn't atrocious, his acting. It was good enough, but so Americanized, man. There's no Greek feel in this, right? But anyways, and actually, I thought Penelope was played well too, other than she just didn't connect with Matt Damon's character. I didn't feel the love and connection between these two. You know, Odysseus even remembers her at one point. He's like, oh, I'll have to go back to her. At no point did we ever see Penelope yearning for Odysseus, right? Either in a proper way, saying it to someone, or to herself out to the sea, or even out at a balcony looking at nature, or saying words that are like, I really miss him and blah, blah, blah. Nothing. Telemachus was atrocious. Nothing of that kid showed that his dad hadn't been around for 20 years and he's suffering from it. Nothing like that. It was a normally played role, and you know, it's a directing problem. This, I don't think it's an acting problem, because I know Tom Holland is a pretty good actor, I think, and he plays a lovely, quirky Spider-Man, which I love, and I love a lot of the Marvel films, but he did not play the role how it should have been played. We never saw really anything extreme of him, other than when he defends the shepherd guy. So, which I liked how he was played, and I also very much liked Robert Pattinson. I thought he played a great suitor, who I think he played Antinous. I think he was brilliant, and I think they explored enough of that, to be honest. I would say I wish they explored more, but actually they did enough with his character, and it's one of the things that made me feel something. But it didn't make me feel anything about the chemistry of Odysseus and Penelope. It just made me feel like there's a real a-hole of a suitor who, but there's also reason behind his madness. He wanted to go to the Trojan War, and for him, he grew up insulted that he never did it. So I can understand all that, and I loved all that. That was a good part of it. The whole film was shot on IMAX. There is a pro and a con behind this. One is, it did look lovely, but I didn't find anything groundbreaking in it, right? And as I said, it was loads of scenes just cut one after the other. You can almost say it's 20 short films, this one film. You know, just because you shot the whole thing on IMAX, you can't be like, oh yeah, this is what's gonna make it amazing. No, in fact, I think Christopher Nolan shooting this fully on IMAX took away from him doing even greater things with scenes and things like that, yeah? So I'm not saying it was terrible. It still looked lovely, right? But I didn't see anything new. When I watch Interstellar, I'm like this with how some of the scenes look. I mean, there was nothing crazy about Charybdis, who is a whirlpool that was gonna suck everyone in. There was nothing brilliant about Scylla. Scylla and Charybdis are like two of the main, you know, monsters in this film that scares them and that Odysseus know they have to face. I just didn't feel it. You know, I like the down-to-earthness and making things look more real, but you ultimately did still say it's because you ate the gods' animals, and you do go to the edge of the world to meet Agamemnon and to see Senna or whatever bloody Page's character was. the young boy who presents the Trojan horse to and indirectly sacrifices himself, really, because they kill him. So, you know, I liked that bit actually at the edge of the world. That was nice, and that actually is connected to the real story. But his mum wasn't there. Like, you want to create drama. What would have been more dramatic than the pain of his mum, and then she decides to kill herself, like is in the story, and then he sees her in the underworld, or the edge of the world, I should say, and she comes up and he's trying to hug her in the story, but he can't because she's a spirit. Thrice does Odysseus try to hug his mum and he can't. You know, that would have been good. I liked Agamemnon though in it, and I liked the edge of the world scene. I didn't have a problem with that actually. I thought it was one of the things that actually really gripped me. I liked it, and Agamemnon says his backstory, how he got betrayed by his queen because of sacrificing his daughter. I loved all that actually. That did say true background to the Odyssey that was true of the original myths. You know, we never got to see Achilles. They lied that Ellen Page was Achilles. We never saw Priam. We never saw Hector. I mean, Hector is more in Iliad, to be honest. He wasn't in the Odyssey, so I understand that. Could have seen a flashback though. Something. We didn't see Paris, you know, and Agamemnon is just walking into Troy with his soldiers. You know, no chariot, no nothing. You know, maybe they're trying to stay stealthy. I don't know, but still, I don't know, man. Or have two guards next to you that look special and like your guards. No king is gonna walk on his own and looking like he's the only special one. There's other kings and generals there that would be dressed differently. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, yeah, I mean, my you know, there was a lot to be desired, in my opinion, as a Greek in Christopher Nolan's Odyssey, and it certainly was Christopher Nolan's Odyssey. It was not Homer's Odyssey, and that's how it is now. It's done well, it seems, first weekend at the box office, and I'm happy, by the way. And as I said, I'm a big Nolan fan, but I'm not going to sit here and lie that I love something, or I'm not going to have Rotten Tomatoes and whoever they paid off to clearly say how amazing it was. I've seen way more amazing, that something like The Matrix, right, for example. The Odyssey was nowhere near the level of something like The Matrix. Why are we acting like the score is the same? Are you crazy? Nowhere near the same. Nowhere near as good as Interstellar. Nowhere near as good as Dark Knight. Nowhere near as good as other films, Braveheart, Gladiator. Don't even get me started. It's just not great, all right? So my score, if I was to score it out of 10, and that's because of the fact that I know Nolan well, and I think it was still just about good enough. 7 out of 10 is what I'd give it. I'm sorry, I can't give it anything more because it missed the mark on many, many things. The script was weak. A lot of the lines are just delivered like it's delivered by nobodies. It's so simple and unpoetic. It was incredible. And Telemachus calling Odysseus dad instead of father. Like, so unpoetic, so Americanized, so dull, which Christopher Nolan says he's trying to protect and preserve. You didn't protect and preserve anything. You just created hype about this film and you hoped for the best. And it seems money-wise, it will do enough to get enough money back. Maybe it'll reach $1 billion like the last film did. What was it called? But you know, I just don't, this is nowhere near in his even top 5 films. I mean, top 5 films of Christopher Nolan, I'd say we go Interstellar, Dark Knight, we go Inception for sure, the top 3 for me. And then maybe, I don't know, you put in there things like The Prestige maybe, etc. Maybe Dark Knight Rises, I don't know, but this was nowhere near the top 5. And it's a shame because it was the one film he made fully on IMAX And I'm sure it would have been a grueling shoot, not easy at all. And I'm sure he could have used with more budget. But such it is, that's how it went. And I'm sorry, I can only be the messenger of what I believe is the truth about the new Odyssey film. But you know what? Maybe more people will learn about the Odyssey now. And maybe someone will eventually step up and do hopefully a more Greek Odyssey, but one that still appeals to people. Nothing Greek about this Odyssey. Completely Americanized, no Greekness. Oh, hey dad, no one looks really Greek. Menelaus is pretty much the Punisher. Telemachus is Spider-Man. Nothing different about the way they're acting. Matt Damon, I'm sorry, was still played as Matt Damon. He did not even a change. Like, do a Greekish English accent. Do something, change it a bit. Change it for Anne Hathaway. Why are you keeping everything like that and not adding more character to this film? I'm talking passionately like this because I love Christopher Nolan. I always defend him. I defended him with Tenet as well and be like, hey, you can't always do amazing films. But, that's a couple of times now you've missed the mark. Although missing the mark on the Odyssey is my opinion. I know some other people are putting these raving reviews, and it's because they probably don't bloody know what the Odyssey is all about, And I'm not saying the Odyssey should be the duplicate of the stories, the originals, but you got to preserve the feel of the Greekness, the feel of who the characters really are, a struggling Telemachus, an Odysseus who, yes, is tired of war, but is still smart and still has a mission to take his crew back home, and it still is a bit cocky because he came up with the Trojan horse. In this film, he regrets coming up with the Trojan horse. Why? It was war. It's either you die or they die. It's black and white in those days. And I'm sure from both sides, even in real life, everyone suffers from war. Even from old ancient days till now, everyone suffers from war. What's nice about going and killing other people? Nothing. It's atrocious. But in a fictional story, where other themes are more important, don't make it about the loss of people more. Bring it up. It's nice. I'm not saying it's not. And it's true. Yeah. And no one is more anti-war than me. But it's not the theme of the story. The biggest theme of the story is the guy's journey and how he gets through the journey, and, who manipulates what and what part others play in it, and the political agendas gods have, and people's selfishness, and, so many things that were pretty much left out. But anyway, that's it, guys. I think this is like an almost 20-minute film review. I hope you enjoyed it. As I said, I love the Odyssey. I've known it since I was young. I watched Troy as well. And you know what? Troy was not called the Iliad. And some changes that were made to Troy, I think, worked well because the film was called Troy. And it was made to seem more real too. And we didn't really know if Achilles was a demigod or not, But if you're going to call something the Odyssey, i.e. Troy being called the Iliad, you got to stick even more closely to the characters and the story. Anyway, such it is. I like the giants as well. That was a nice scene. Such it is, guys. That's my review of Christopher Nolan's Odyssey. 7 out of 10, and I'm not changing that. I don't think I ever will. Take care.